welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of Anewgo of New Home Sales. I'm your host, Anya Chrisanthon, and joining me today is John Lee and Sara Williams. So, as you guys know, we recently launched Anewgo Marketplace. It's been about a month now, so whoop, whoop. Yeah. And today we wanted to talk about some of the differences of what makes Anewgo Marketplace stand out from other portals out there, such as Zillow, RedFin, or New Home Source. And the specific feature that we're going to be discussing today is the design feature. And the way we're going to address the design feature is we're going to represent it from three different perspectives. So John is going to represent the consumer, Sara is going to represent the builder's point of view, and I will represent the realtor's point of view. So before we jump into it, I think it would be really helpful to define what is our design feature on AMP, since some of our listeners may not have checked that out yet. And if you haven't already, make sure you do. It's anewgo.com.
Okay, well, let me kick that off. But actually, I just want to talk from a broader sense first. Design is an important part of content. And then as the market is slowing down, as it's changing, I think this is an opportunity for us to get back to basics, the basics of marketing, which starts off with content. You know, content is really what attracts buyers and consumers, which I'm representing, as well as what engages them. And an important part of that content is the ability to design it. We don't want to go back to the old days, particularly buying a new home, of just presenting static, generic, boring content. We really want something that's personalized, it's engaging, it's something that they can customize, and it's interactive. And design gives you all those type of things, because design is a very important part of content, because it's something that communicates visually for us, and communication visually is a universal language. I mean, across demographics, cultures, languages, age groups, everybody can understand what they see, what they like. It elicits emotional appeal or disdain. So I think you need to start off with visualization, which is really what we're all about. And in particular, with interactive content, we've been advocating and creating interactive design for 4 or 5 years now with our apps. And with that part is where the buyer can not only visualize a generic rendering of a house plan, but they can then go in and color design it, whether it's whole house color packages and schemes, or individual material colors, or even a hybrid of the two. So you can now start off with a green package and then start to change just the door color or the roof or the bricks. That level of engagement really draws buyers in and creates that emotional appeal. And you can do that for the elevations. Obviously, you need it for the floor plans, where you can have interactive floor plans to show off all your options. And that shows them the functionality of their house. And if you bring in price and real-time mortgage calculator into it, like we do, now they can see as they're designing their house if they can afford it, which is very important today with the high prices and interest rates. But it doesn't just stop there. You can design everything down to your kitchen sink. The kitchen and the master bath are two of the most important design rooms in your home. And that really draws you in, because that's where you spend a lot of your time. And so be able to visualize that to match your lifestyle and your price point is also very attractive. The other element of design is really selection of your home site. Every house has to have a home site, including that with your interactive site plans. You can see which lots are available, which plans can fit on which lots, what their price, lot premiums are, acreage, all those important things to bring the whole house together. But we're actually elevating this design process. What we're doing is taking a virtual tours experience, which many of you are familiar with now, and allowing the buyers not just take a virtual tour of their house, but using like a video game engine online as they're touring their house. You can now design it and visualize it the way you want it. Do you want that fireplace? Do you want that jacuzzi bath? Do you want that outdoor kitchen? And as you're touring it, you're now really engaged with it, because you're touring your personalized home. So those are two facets of design. And then we can start to talk about each of our stakeholders' attraction to design.
Yeah, I think Sarah and I were talking a little bit before we hit record, and to bring it back to the girls, the specific example, I think the design feature really allows you to transition from marketing your product to actually selling your product actively, right? If you think about yourself browsing on whether it's Amazon or Instagram, if you come across that sweater and you're looking at the sweater and it's like, oh, it's a cute sweater, but what if you couldn't do anything with the sweater, right? You couldn't click buy now, you couldn't click different color, you couldn't see what it looks like on the model. It's really pointless at that point. I mean, yeah, it's nice looking sweater. Maybe I'm interested. So next time I'm visiting that Ann Taylor, I may, stop by and see if they have that sweater. But isn't it so much easier if I can see different styles, different colors, exactly what it looks like on the model instead of just a sweater on a rack, and add to cart? It's the best feature of it all. So yeah, definitely makes it.
I mean, the holy grail for a lot of builders, just like another industry, is the whole e-commerce platform, to be able to find, design, experience, and buy online. But you will never get to the buy part if you cannot let the buyers design it and visualize it. It's too big of a purchase, too complex, too collaborative to just buy it sight unseen, which is really obscene, which is probably a good segue for me to talk about a customer's perspective, because, in 20 years in this industry, I've dealt with a lot of builders who are dealing with a lot of customers, but I'm also a customer myself. So I'm just going to start with a little alliteration. First and foremost, design eliminates fear and frustration while fostering fun and function. We need to cover all those facets because, like I said, this is a complex, expensive, risky investment, and design fulfills that initial marketing function of not just attracting you with maybe a generic rendering, even just to bring you in so you have a general idea what we're about, but then it really engages those prospects. It takes them further down that sales funnel. And it also, because it's all virtual and it's all online, and they didn't have to make that trip to visit you. They didn't have to, spend the money and get their families together. Because you're doing it online, it's a very risk-free exploratory process. A lot of people don't understand the advantages and the opportunities of buying new versus a used or resale home. Allowing them to do this in the middle of the night with their family and just try out different visual options and price points and design all of that allows them to take a risk-free exploration and without a commitment. And it helps them to really educate them about not just our industry, but about your products and you as a builder. A lot of people have their dream homes, but they don't know how to dream it because they can't visualize this. So visualizations gives them a starting point to imagine their dream home. And then once they see what they like, it's like, hey, I want filet mignon, but now do I want it medium well? Do I want it well done? Now they can start to customize it. So you take them from personalization to customization. It's a very personal experience, and it's a very collaborative personal experience. And so what we want to do is let the buyers freely move themselves down the sales funnel. What they're doing is they're engaging, but they're also curating themselves and them for you as a builder to have a curated, knowledgeable, comfortable buyer that you can now engage with online. So that's what it is. I think from a buyer's perspective, I think a lot of people can relate, but you got to let them see what they're getting.
So I'm going to challenge here a little bit, because I think a lot of builders have this thing, and it's going to be a good transition into Sarah's part with the builder. So a lot of the builders say, well, why would I want to put this all online? Then they're not going to come into my model home. And then my model home is where I sell. So John, for me, it's really easy to answer that question, because I think of my age group that I am still,
you're still so young.
A millennial, an old millennial, but I think we all know of millennial behavior, and that, there's pretty much no chance that I'm going to show up in your model home if you're not giving me any information online. So from your perspective as a consumer, John, would you go into a model home if they didn't give you any options to visualize it ahead of time?
I think it would be tough to get me, maybe get my wife to get me to go, but I would not want to give up my valuable time to just go somewhere sight unseen. I actually think this sales is actually dependent upon marketing. Then maybe I'm talking a little bit from the builder perspective, but you don't get to to sales generally, unless you go through marketing. If the marketing element does not attract you, does not engage you, does not inform you, I mean, it's not even about excitement, it's about communication. For me to take that step across hundreds of builders out there, I mean, if all I'm reading is beautiful new homes in Raleigh, oh, we're more prettier than our competitors, and all you read is text, you get lost in the messaging because it doesn't resonate and it doesn't communicate. Visuals, like I said, is a way to communicate across everyone. You don't have to be a realtor, you don't have to be an architect, you don't have to be a builder. That's why I think visualization is such an important part. And if you look at the statistics, 85% of people that actually want to buy new don't actually buy new, they actually buy used. I think a big part of that drop off is actually even before the design phase. It's actually, they can't even find the house that even resonates with them to even then design it. So I think the first part of it is tangential to design, but it's to be able to visualize what you have to then let me fine tune it to what I want.
Yeah, and I forgot what the stat is, but I saw it on either Zillow or Redfin that, you know, when shoppers, even for used homes, when they shop and they decide which open houses they're going to go see that weekend, they pretty much, if there's no virtual tour of the home,
right,
it's like they
Redfin.
take it off the list because they don't want to waste their time. So
Right.
It's one thing to look at pictures, even, you know, we all know that they are providing tons of pictures, but even from pictures, you can't see a full story as well as you can see from the video. And so people are saying, hey, if there's no virtual tour, if I can't see ahead of time that I like this place, I'm not going to waste my time going to see it. So if they can see anything, then chances are they're not going to show up at all.
It actually is two sides of the same coin in a sense. From a marketing standpoint, visuals, I think, help attract you, but it's also visuals is also a way for customers to eliminate you. Mm-hmm. So if they don't see you, they're probably eliminated right from the beginning. If they see some things they like and some things they don't like, it helps them curate themselves for you, because at the end of the day, they're only buying one house from one builder at one time. So marketing is all about more. Sales is about less. So at some point here, the visuals help you go from that attraction to that process of elimination.
It all flows together, right? So John, you covered so much of actually what the builder, why a builder would use Anewgo Marketplace, and we like to call it AMP for short here internally, but literally for all the reasons you said, what the customer is looking for. So if we actually listen to our customers and listen to where they're shopping or the way they're shopping or what they're begging us for, you can't say no to what we're talking about today. It is design is what the people want, especially if they're considering new construction. Typically, when someone says yes to new construction, it's because they've eliminated most of the resale market. It's because they couldn't find exactly what they're looking for. They need that extra room for that home office or that extra space for their new child that they're bringing home, or their mother-in-law or father-in-law or both that are coming in to stay with them. So by having design tools and to be engaging with the customer for our builders, it's literally saying, you know what, instead of having this open concept, I need actually a wall, and being able to see it with an interactive floor plan by making the floor plan work for them. Or what would this room look like if I don't want to have that closed off family room and I want to have a more grand approach for the dinner parties that I like to host? Mm-hmm. The reason why someone is building a new construction home is because they've basically eliminated everything through their Zillow searches or through their Redfin searches. They're like, what else is there? What's for me? These design tools are going to up that engagement rate. And we were talking last week in preparation for this call today. And it's really, we have 16 minutes of an online session. When you have design tools and folks are engaging, they're on your site longer. And then it's a 15% bounce rate. That's 3 times better than the industry, what the industry considers excellent. And then 16% more conversions, because now we talked, the 3 of us talked again in preparation for this. It's the psychological and emotional, because now someone's picking out their color. Maybe it's a brick or a stone, or the craftsman versus traditional or transitional look. Maybe it's that beach house that they've always dreamt about. Again, that flex room Instead of the open concept, they need it closed off for the home office because guess what? They just got a promotion and they're going to be able to work from home. Whatever that means to them, they're now imagining it. So for the builders, not giving the power back and that control back to the consumers and not having these engagement tools and design tools, guess what? They might just flip the page, swipe left, or is it swipe right? I'm too old.
I think swipe left.
Is it
for
swipe
no.
left? When you eliminate?
Swipe left.
They're swiping because
Be careful, you may date the wrong people.
I know. Well, here I am. I've been with the same guy for 20 plus years. So my husband, but honestly, like they just can't connect. They're not connecting with the house that they're showing because like Anya already said, the photography, right? If you can't see it in the color or you can't see it in the style that you want, you're kind of like, you're disengaged, right? And the whole goal here, especially today in this type of market, for someone to say yes to new, we have to make it stupid easy, right? We have to make it so easy that they come in and say yes. So that's give the control back to the buyers, make them fall in love with you with the design tools that match what their needs are. Because guess what? The reason they're here is because they can't find what they're looking for elsewhere. So let them be able to see your floor plans. And for the most part, most of our builders have so many options and configurations. But if someone can't figure out how that little image on the far right of the static page fits in, which we all know, we've all worked with shoppers and builders. We know the struggle is real for shoppers. They can't, they're like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But with the interactive floor plans, it just is like, it just connects and they're like, oh, got it. That's how it comes in. That's what it would look like with the larger mud room or the drop zone for my, for my 3 kids when they come home from school. So that's a big deal. We're here to communicate. So the builders are able to communicate with their home buyers and their home shoppers before they actually even meet with them. So the more information they're able to find with you, the more they're likely to say, yeah, this builder gets me. This builder has what I need. This builder. So you're communicating with them visually and with all these design options without having to sit next to them. And guess what? Once they are with you and they have said yes or raised their hand, that's when you can really take them to the finish line and curate it that much more. But you're getting them all the way down the path that they feel attached to your product before they even raise their hand. And we tell stories all the time that folks are showing up to our home builders with the brochure in hand saying, this is the house that I want. That is like the best lead ever. Like, this is the house I want. Can I build it on lot 3 or can I build this on my own lot? Like, this is exactly what I've been looking for.
As a customer, that's exactly what I want to hear. I want to do as much as I can myself and with my spouse. And I want to take it, do as much of that online. If you can meet me online, that's even better. But definitely when I meet with you, we are not going back to step 1. You're going to where I left off and we're going to continue that customer journey. It's already taking weeks of time as it is. I don't need to go backwards to go forward.
Mm-hmm. Now, and I'd like to add too, John, is that, when I talk to builders, because I talk to builders every day and they're like, hey, Sarah, they're like, we have so many options. Like, this isn't for me. There's no way. I don't want to limit, like, I don't want my customers to think this is all we can do. And I'm like, but you're not showing them anything. So they can't even envision what's the possibility. And right. I would also like to challenge that every builder that adds options, that interactive options and these virtual tours that have the option and color selectors, that they sell more because the shopper,
the biggest thing.
So, I mean, I always say, what if it's better than you expect? Like, you're expecting it to be like a deterrent. It's actually going to get people to say yes and to talk to you more. So then you can sell them even more than what your interactive floor plans or your design tools have shown them. So right. When I hear that, I do a little chuckle. I was like, that's the exact opposite of what you're going to see happen.
As a customer, exactly. I don't want FOMO. I don't want the fear of missing out. I want the possibilities to be endless. I don't want the possibilities to be ended. But it's not the problem of the customer to figure out how to be able to find the right homes that have exactly the options that I want out of this endless sea of options. It's having the technology, which we're also offering in AMP, in our marketplace, to allow people to actually search for exactly the craftsman homes or the options or the floor plans or the community lifestyles or the amenities that match what they want. Don't let the fear of more sell less. Let the more sell more by letting us filter it down to what is meaningful to each consumer.
I think, Sarah, to bring it back to like the take rate for options, that's where builders make their money, is on options, upselling options. And we know that when you give customers that self-service option, that they do spend more money, whether it's ordering food at fast food place, or adding more options to their home. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to maximize our profits here. So.
And frankly, that's one of the reasons why customers want to buy new, because they don't want to settle for what is used and old and not configured the way I want it. New is not just new, it's new the way I want to, for my lifestyle and how I want to spend my budget. I don't want to waste money on a used dining room that I don't even use. I'm paying more for less, actually.
Yeah. And, we did a webinar last week with Roland Nancy, and he was talking about negotiation, and that when you negotiate with the client, you want to bring them back into your model home. The reason being why is you want them to be emotionally tied in when you're having that conversation. So what you're doing by providing those great visualizations online is you are keeping them emotionally engaged at all times. And we know the more time goes by, the more disengaged they become from visiting the model home. So if you can keep that excitement going, every time I open my computer screen, every time I see my dream home, I'm transformed back into that. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. Mm-hmm. That is keeping that excitement alive. And then the last thing I wanted to add is that a lot of builders, again, if you're coming from that space of fear, I want my customers come in so I can sell them in my model home because that's how we sell, and what's going to be with my salespeople. Again, all those tools that we're discussing, I wish when I was a salesperson, I had those tools. So it's not just for the customers. These are the tools that your salespeople can use in the model home with your customers. And so when you're investing in these interactive digital tools, you're not just spending money on marketing, although you are, but you're also helping your salespeople convert sales, because you are giving them the tool to show the customer, hey, this is what it looks like with 2-story foyer versus, a 1-story foyer, as you're walking inside your model home with the computer screen side by side. So that's never a waste of money, in my opinion. All right, well, if we're done with the builder perspective, why don't we move on to the realtor side? Because obviously we know that majority of consumers still shop with the realtor. And so especially right now, I know there's a lot of memes going on Instagram and social media that from realtor side that like, oh, builders want us again. It's like for a while there, we were kind of like, oh, we're slashing commissions, et cetera, et cetera. But now we're once again, those realtor relationships are really important. So of course, we want to make sure that we have the right type of realtors on AMP that can bring their clients to you. And the more the merrier, the more clients they can introduce to you that were not originally considering new construction, it's a win-win for me. So as a former realtor myself, I would say there are few distinct benefits to realtors being on our platform. The first one is we all heard of that difficult client who's like, hey, I'm looking for this unicorn home that has, the mother's-in-law suite. It has the foyer, a 2-story foyer, and it has a loft, and it has, a list of options that goes on and on and on. And you spend hours and hours of your life looking for this unicorn home, trying to find something for your client that usually you can't find it. And I used to always say to my clients, like, there is no unicorn, right? Like, you're going to have to settle for something. Well, with new construction, maybe they don't have to settle as much. So as a realtor, one of the great features that we have in our design tools is the filter feature, which allows you to go and search through thousands of floor plans and find that unicorn that has the mother-in-law suite, the 2-story foyer, the loft, whatever else it may be, that otherwise you would never be able to find it. And so that's a great opportunity for you as a realtor to locate that, send it to your client
Mhm.
and say, hey, what about building a new home? And so for me, obviously it would be, right, like, oh, I never thought about building a new home, but look, this is exactly what I wanted. Let's go check it out. So that's a huge one. And then the other one for realtors that I think is a big benefit is that whole idea of like the playhouse, right? We talked about the playhouse idea that most consumers come to Zillow, for example, because they want to just look at pretty pictures of homes. And so that's kind of the experience
60%.
that we're trying to provide here, except they're not just looking at the pretty pictures of homes or videos, they can actually design the home of their dreams.
Mhm.
And so as a realtor, every single month I'm looking for new ideas for what do I send to my client base? How do I get them engaged? What do I email them? Well, that's a perfect tool to send them is, find a local builder in your area who offers the design tool and send them a design tool for the kitchen and say, hey, tell me, what would be your perfect kitchen. As we go out, I want to get an idea for like, what do I look for? And again, you never know. People may not even consider that new is a possibility for them. And they may not know, of course they don't know that you could actually design home on the fly like this. So when you're getting them excited about it, when you're giving them the tools to start playing with it, I think more and more people are going to be like, oh, wow, this is something interesting. I actually do want to go see that builder this weekend. Let's scratch off that old house off the list. That's what I like.
Those are great points. Even the converse of that, some of these people that are asking you for this unicorn by using these filter things, it actually vindicates you. You can say, look, there is no Taj Mahal in your price point that's going to match all that. So don't make me go on a wild goose chase. And at least they feel comfortable that you're a knowledgeable realtor that has the tools to deliver what they want. And it also helps the builders, you're helping the customers and you're also helping the builders. You're helping the builders curate some of these leads that are having unreasonable expectations and actually bring in the ones that are a good match for that particular builder.
I would say too, we talked about the unicorn house, the house that may not exist, but sometimes, especially someone that's just like hasn't been in the market in a long time, or
Right.
someone just doesn't know any better, that has never, maybe they've rented or they're just new to buying, that bringing them to AMP and having them be able to click on design tools and click on floor plans and understanding what's available, I think is also such an education. So real estate agents, one, could educate themselves in Anewgo Marketplace, but then also it's an education for their home shoppers that now they're speaking the same language and they can communicate better back to the real estate agent of what they want or what they're interested in. And of course, we're a huge fan of screen sharing here. So you could do it together, whether you're sitting side by side or sitting on a Zoom or some sort of screen sharing tool with your shoppers and just kind of coaching them along. That I do believe, Anya and I both have sold homes in our lifetime, and agents just kind of sometimes shy away from new because they just don't know or don't understand or don't want to look silly in front of their clients. This way, everyone's getting an education. Everybody looks like everyone's speaking the same language. And when the agent shows up maybe to the sales center or the model home, they have everything that their buyer wants. They could show up and say, hey, this is what we worked on. These are the houses that I came up with. Maybe you have a better suggestion. And then everyone's, again, back to John's comment, collaborating. Anewgo Marketplace is a collaboration tool that no one in our industry has ever seen before.
We want all three of us stakeholders to all do what we want to do and what we do best. I don't think Anya as a realtor really wants to get into a husband and wife decision about, which cabinet colors to pick, or do I make the $5,000 trade-off between the hardwood floor or the quartz countertop? But she may be great there in helping me realize the best investment and, the timing and negotiation, the builders, get a more curated lead that's further down the sales funnel. So I think all that is based on collaborative communication medium of a visualization that is probably led by the consumer, because it's about the customer experience, but it's improved and accelerated by the builders and the real estate agents.
Yeah, and obviously the whole idea of the suggestions, right? That's another big part of design, is that once you start interacting with the design tools and you start clicking on certain floor plans, the AI is going to pick up on that and say, hey, you know, if you like this, you're probably going to like that.
Right.
And so again, it goes back to eliminating the overwhelm of too many choices for consumers, when AI can really narrow down to few choices that would actually appeal to them, rather than showing them 100 options that, you know, no, and forget about this. So I think that interactivity of design is really what makes Anewgo Marketplace so different from all the other portals out there, because, you know, you can go to Zillow, you can go to RedFin, you can go to realtor.com, you can go to New Home Source to search for homes, right? Ultimately, that's all what we do. We are a search engine for homes, some specializing in new construction, some specializing in used homes. But at the end of the day, what makes Anewgo different from those is that we give you an ability to actually interactively design homes on the fly, so you can see what that exterior is going to look like, what that interior is going to look like, so that you can engage with it and design the home of your dream. So I think, to me, that's a big standout. And, you know, that gets into the whole reason why personalization marketing is so important right now. Personalization marketing is really what we see a lot of our other brands outside of our industry implementing. And, you know, it resonates with consumers, and digital design tools are certainly a way to implement personalization marketing for home builders.
Yes, and just basically to wrap all this up, because this whole session has really been at the core, is really about personalization marketing. It's really a more advanced form of presentation, or, you know, marketing that we've been doing in this industry. But partly this is timely in that our industry is moving away from the seller-centric approach to a more buyer-centric, and it's really a buyer's market now. So in going from a seller-centric to a buyer-centric marketing approach, we're going from the traditional push marketing, where I'm just going to present you something, I'm going to push it on you and try to persuade you into it, to a pull marketing, which you're drawing your customers in. They want to go there. They want to interact. You want them to fall in love with you instead of forcing a arranged marriage. And this really entails this design feature, like what we're saying, because it allows you to move from, again, that basic presentation marketing into higher level personalization marketing, which really envelops all the marketing content and communications around that buyer, but also adds the next subset element of customization. Once they have fallen in love with your products and your communities and who you are, they can then customize it for themselves and their family. Then we elevate to the next level where they can actually experience it, you know, virtually, be immersed in their home. And then that takes it to a whole nother level of what you talked about earlier with like recommendations. It's predictive marketing. Because you like this, you'll probably like that. And this helps us meet them where they are at in their sales process and probably where they want in their life. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for marketing, we really want to take buying a new home from a general experience to a very concierge customer experience. And my analogy to this, and this is kind of apropos because we're coming up on Anya's 40th milestone birthday next week. It's really like, you know, going to a fine restaurant, and you have certain expectations, you know, to go to that fine restaurant. It's for a special occasion. It's a milestone birthday or anniversary. And if you went in there and you just did presentation marketing, which is basically, oh, hi, I don't even know your name. Hi, here's a menu, seat yourself. That's not winning them over. You want to create a experience. I mean, this is a major experience for their life. And so what we're able to do with personalization is say, hey, Anya, you know, you and your husband, yeah, your husband called in today. We know it's a special day for you. We have a special seat for you. It's around the balcony overlooking, you know, the ocean view, because we know you love the ocean. We have a candlelight, you know, table here. It's all just for you two. And you get to order from a special menu that, you know, we know that you like. That's a little bit about personalization. Now we know that, oh, wow, you like filet mignon. Okay. And we have that with the lobster. How would you like it cooked? That's customization. You said, well, I like my medium well, and I also like a side of this and side of that. So that's how we make it. And then for your birthday, we know that we have a special cake for you. So we're customizing this to say happy 40th, live it to the to the fullest. And then that experiential piece that we want to bring in. And this is all just like buying a house. They may sing happy birthday to you. They present you with a gift. They take photos for you. Everybody's all happy. Even the crowd in there is clapping for you. And then what we want to do is add that last element, that predictive marketing, where, would you like red wine with your steak? Because we know you like wine, and here's some house wines that we recommend that goes perfectly with your steak, and other recommendations. That's what we want to bring into new home shopping. And I think we have all the tools, but the way we resonate in this industry for something that's not built is a visual representation, an immersive experience, and a customization capability. That's what I want. And I'm sure that's what you want for your 40th, right?
Yes.
Now the bar is high for your husband.
Except champagne and caviar, but
yeah, champagne caviar. See?
Well, I think this is the perfect place to wrap up our conversation about what makes Anewgo Marketplace different from other portals out there. And this time we dove into the design feature. So every often we're going to revisit the topic and feature different feature of Anewgo Marketplace so that you can get familiar with really what makes us different from others and how to best utilize our platform. So if you haven't already checked it out, please visit anewgo.com and let us know what you think. This is version 1.0, and we're continuously working to improve it and to add additional features as we go along. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.